Hello and welcome to something new. So we're going to cover the new articles that's dropped on the Warhammer Community page, and today we're going to talk about the Codex Necrons and the new rules and units. So let's jump straight into it. So this is a preview of the Codex that's going to go on pre-order on this Saturday. And let's just jump straight in. Got a nice little artwork there. So the Necrons have awakened and we are getting ready to reclaim the galaxy, and that's not going to be easy. They're going to need some new units and rules. So today we're taking you through some of the options in the new Necron Codex that will take you from mere Necron Overlord to Galactic Ruler. So like some new artwork. The new Codex features dynastic codes for 6 Necron empires, including the Zarakan dynasty for the first time, along with options to create your own. We'll be taking a new look at these rules tomorrow, which is pretty cool, so tune in for that if you're watching this. Today we're focusing on a range of rules and army-wide abilities that benefit your force regardless of which dynasty that they belong to. For example, the Reanimation protocols have always been a huge part in a way that the Necron armies play, and they have undergone a slight change in the new rules. Your Necrons can still come back from the wounds that they would take any other warrior out of action, but now when you roll when models are destroyed rather than at the beginning of the turn, which is a buff actually, because like if you think about it, in your opponent's turn they get a whole round of move, shoot, charge and attack. So like you can roll multiple reanimation protocols for the same model within a unit, which is good. So you got some blurb. Reanimation protocols. Each time an enemy unit shoots or fights after it takes its attacks, if any models in that unit are destroyed as a result of these attacks, but this unit was not destroyed, the unit's reanimation protocols are enacted, and those destroyed models begin to reassemble. Makes sense. Each time a unit's reanimation protocols are enacted, make a reanimation protocol roll for that unit by rolling a number of d6 equal to the combined wound characteristics of all of the reassembling models. Each reanimation protocol of a 5+ is to put into a pool. A reanimation protocol can never be modified by more than +1 or -1, which is kind of a buff and a debuff. So you get a buff because you could potentially keep reanimating the same model if it gets shot and attacked in the same turn, but it's a nerf because it stops you stacking those reanimation protocols, so you can no longer mount your like huge blob of warriors behind the new giant War of Worlds guy, the reanimator, that gives you a +1, and you can't get another +1 because of a cryptech, and warriors reroll 1s now anyway for reanimation protocol, so you can't reanimate on a 3+ and reroll 1s because that's just really annoying. Which is a good change. It does make things fair, but it also keeps them being very competitive. If the number of dice in the pool is greater than or equal to the wounds characteristic of any of the reassembling models, select one of these models to be reanimated. A reanimated model is added back to the unit is greater than or equal to the wounds characteristic of any. So that means that if you have a multi-wound unit, if any of the reassembling models, select one of the models to be reanimated. Okay, so to get a multi-wound model back, you need to roll all of its wounds back. Interesting. If the number of dice in the pool is greater than or equal to the wounds characteristic of any of the, select one of these models be returned. Wow, okay. So yeah, so you need to like destroyers, or if you can still give race reanimation protocols for a turn, yeah, okay, so that's definitely a nerf, because you need to reanimate it completely. Wow, okay, that's cool. No, that's good. You can only set up with engagement range if you're already engagement range of reanimated units. Yeah, some clarifications. You cannot set up closer. No longer counts as being destroyed for morale. That makes sense. You then reduce the number of dice in that pool by a number equal to the wounds characteristic of the reanimated model, and repeat this process until either there are no more reassembling models or the number of dice remaining in the pool is less than the wounds characteristic of any of it. Okay, yeah, so you need to fully reanimate a model before you can bring it back, which is good. This change means that your opponents want to prevent you from making any reanimation protocol rolls, which is the same as always. They'll have to wipe out their unit in a single attack. Yes and no. Like, you could, however you want to do it. Something brand new for Necron Overlords: to unleash upon the galaxy are command protocols. Before a game starts, you secretly assign one of the 6 protocols to each of the first 5 battle rounds. First 5 battle rounds? I mean, there's only 5, but sure. Then when you reach the relevant battle round, you choose from one of the 2 directives associated with the protocol to be active for the round, and any unit within 6 inches of the Necron character can benefit from it. Yeah, Skullpack Lord there, which is good. There's a lot of, in like 9th edition, there's a lot of noting things down before the game starts, especially with like secondary objectives, these sort of command protocols, and I imagine this is going to be like a thing amongst a lot of armies, potentially all the armies really. You're going to need a notepad. Gone are the days of only needing one book to play the game, but hey ho. For example, you can select the protocol of the sudden storm to be active in round 4, which you could then use to make a last minute dash to claim the objective or perform an action and still use your ranged weapons, which is pretty good, especially if you've got a huge blob of warriors. Directive 1, add 1 to the move characteristic of models in this unit, or Directive 2, if this unit is performing an action, it can then still make attacks with the ranged action without failing it. Now, the Silent King has an ability where, I'm sure he has an ability in one of the previous articles that's been on the community page, that he has the ability to enact both directives every turn, or potentially one round. I believe it's every turn. Don't quote me on that. But that's really... So, bring the Silent King always in big games. The command protocols offer some tactical options for your Necron's army. They're flexible enough to make sure that there will always be a directive that you can take advantage of, which is good because Necrons have been very stale. You have to play them kind of in one way in 8th edition, really, to be competitive. Robotic reinforcements. It's not only been the Overlords that's coming up with a new scheme to reclaim the rightful domain, and the Cryptex have also been very busy. There are tomb loads of new units for the Necron armies. I'll see what you did there. Nice. Great model. I do like all of his guns, all of his pistols. They say that the quantity has a quality of its own, but that's especially true when you're armed with 6 guns, hexmark destroyers that were once death marks but now are going to battle carrying multiple enmitic destructor pistols. We're just going to call it destructor pistol from now on. Range 18, pistol 1, 6 -1, 1 damage. And this is just the bare stats, so that doesn't include any sort of like stratagems that are going to come in the book to make this guy more killy. As if 6 shots weren't enough, you get more. You can fire more when they take out a enemy model. Each multi-threat eliminator. Each time a enemy model is destroyed by a ranged attack made by this model's enmitic disintegrator pistol. After this model takes the rest of its attack, it can shoot with one of its destructor pistols one more time. These attacks cannot generate additional attacks. That's pretty good for not hordes per se, but like if you get really lucky on rolls, you could potentially take out a lot of infantry units, especially if it's like boys or Genestealer Cull or sisters, those kind of things. It's really good. It's a good mechanic. Potentially somewhere between 6 if you roll poorly, 6 to 12 shots. some remark about the Kellamorph. I'm not interested. The monolith. Very nice monolith. I do like the new one. While technically not a unit, the monolith is getting a new model and has had enough of improvement that the overlords will almost see it as new. Not only does it have additional 4 wounds, which takes it to 24. I did check before starting this recording, but its weapons have also undergone an upgrade. There is also a new option, the Death Ray, which you can take in place of the Gauss Flux Arc. I'm going to say that you have to swap all 4, and point wise, no idea. I'm not that good at guesstimating the points cost. However, strength 9, D3 plus 3, 4 attacks at 24-inch range, that's pretty decent, especially with a particle whip as well. That's very anti-armor, and it's nothing to, turn your nose up at. I think at the minute it runs at 370 points. So it's quite a heavy investment, but we'll see. I mean, maybe might be back to the days of warriors and a monolith. Enemies won't want to go anywhere near these fearsome floating pyramids. Oh look, the Void Dragon. It's not every day that an actual god, or at least a shard of one, takes to the battlefields of the 41st millennium. With the addition to the Catan shard of the Void Dragon to Necron forces, there is a massive shift in the galaxy's power dynamics. As you'd expect, the fragment of the Star God, the Catan shard of the Void Dragon has impressive characteristics. The Catan shard, 8, 2 plus 2 plus 6. That's pretty good. That's really good. And he's going to be a character, so like 9 wounds. He's going to be hideable. 5 attacks. Tough to 7. Yeah, he's a beast. When you combine the profile with the power granted by the Spear of the Void Dragon, the Catan could be easily cut through enemy units. That's a lot of text for a heavy one shooting attack. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, if a hit is scored, it's one of those. Draw a line between the closest point of this model's base or hull and that of the closest model in the target unit. Make 1 wound roll against the target unit. Each other unit that the line passes over. Each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a vehicle model, that attack has a damage of D3 plus 3. That's good. It makes it less swingy. Turn it from a D6 to a D3 plus 3. I like it. I'm not overly keen on the draw a line between a model and a point. Mortarion has that. I love the model. I really want it for my Death Guard, but no, it's just meh. But however, if there's stratagems to augment this, maybe interesting. Melee weapon, so plus 3 strength, takes it to strength 9, minus 4 d6 each time an attack model. Oh, it's the same thing with vehicles. He just gets less swingy when it comes to vehicles, which is good. Strength 9, you're wielding an anvil like a hammer, and you're just smashing anything that it comes into contact with. It's only 5 attacks. Technically, you can argue that this is purely for anti-armor, but he's a force to be reckoned with on any front. The Catan Shard of the Void Dragon has 2 abilities that makes him extremely difficult to kill. Cool. The Necrodermis lets it shrug off quite a lot. So, is this just the Necrodermis for him, or is this going to be the Necrodermis for all of them? 4 plus invulnerable save. Good. In addition, this model cannot lose more than 3 wounds in the same phase. So he's like Gaz, the Gaskell Thraka, but better, because he's only 9 wounds. So he can hide. Interesting. That's really good. If that's the case, he better have the character keyword, because he should do. Meanwhile, its antimatter rule, matter absorption, not antimatter rule, means the fearsome entity can devour the very essence of the destroyed enemies. At the end of each phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy vehicle model destroyed as a result of an attack made by this model, or a Catan power. So he has Catan powers as well. Nice. For each 2 plus, this model regains 1 wound to a maximum of 3 regained. That's good. It's also good that they've limited it to 3. because he can only lose 3, so it stops you, going back up to full if he's reduced down. With his devastating attack power, the incredible defensive abilities, the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon is a perfect fit for almost every Necron army. Blah, blah, blah. New Codex coming soon to pre-order, which is this Saturday, like I said before at the beginning of the video. Wow, so Necrons, they are getting all sorts of new stuff. So you're getting command protocols for the battle round rather than turns. You're getting a hammer and anvil in the vein of the Void Dragon, the Shard of the Void Dragon. You're getting more wounds on your monolith and more weapons, and it's just, again, another beast. The damage output is getting higher and higher, and it looks like that 9th edition is becoming lethal for Space Marines and Necrons at the moment, because they're getting all the new stuff. But if you expand that across the rest of the armies, like, they're getting just, everything's just going to be wiped out. Like, every weapon needs to be killing something, and with like increased damage, increased AP, more options, you'd think that they'd reduce the points, but we can see what happens going forward with that. However, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Can't wait for this new codex to come out. Take care of yourself. Do all that YouTubey stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.